Morning students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine and good. Okay, let's start our class for 5th class term 2 science. Okay, 5th class term 2 science. Okay, already we started our lesson, that is third lesson. What is our third lesson name? Air and water. So a few of the topic we discussed, and today we will complete our lesson after discussing the few topics. In previous class we learned removing, how we are removing the insoluble impurities and what are the methods. Now today we are going to learn about the removing of soluble impurities. So what are the methods that are using to remove the soluble impurities? As soluble impurities dissolve in water, it is difficult to remove them. We can remove the soluble impurities in water by evaporation and distillation. So how we are removing the soluble impurities in the water? It isn't difficult because it is completely dissolving the water. After dissolving, we cannot remove. It isn't so difficult to remove. So to remove these soluble impurities in the water, there are the two methods, that is called as an evaporation and distillation. Firstly, evaporation. We can separate soluble impurities from water by heating the water. This process is called as an evaporation. When we heat water, it evaporates, leaving the impurities behind. So what happened here? How we are removing the soluble impurities? The first method is an evaporation. So after we can separate the soluble impurities by heating the water. So after heating the water, the soluble impurities are completely separating them from the water. So that process is called as an evaporation. When we heat the waters, what happened? It evaporates and leaving the impurities behind. While the water is evaporating, the impurities are leaving behind. Next, distillation. Evaporation helps us separate impurities from water. However, we'll use all the water as it evaporates into the air. We can save water if we separate the impurities by distillation. Distillation is the process which separates the soluble impurities from the water without losing the water. So evaporation, how we are separating from the evaporation, helps to separate the impurities what we are added. What the evaporation means? Evaporation is nothing but heating. So by doing the evaporation, what happened? The impurities will be separated from the water and evaporates, and however we use water as it evaporates in the air. So how we are saving? So while evaporation isn't going on in the air, the water droplets are going on. So we have to save that water droplets. We are using another method, that is called as a distillation. Without losing the water, we are using to separate the soluble impurities by the method is called as a distillation. On heating, the water evaporates, the water vapor is collected, the condensed in another container to obtain distilled water. Water vapor changes to water due to cooling. So what happened on heating? What happened? Water vapor evaporates. The smoke will come. जैसे अपन कुछ भी पका रहे तो क्या होता है, उसके भाप निकल के बाहर चले जाते हैं. भाप में क्या रहता है? इसके अंदर टाइनी वाटर ड्रॉपलेट्स रहते हैं. सो व्हाट वी आर डूइंग मीन्स, हियर इफ यू आर यूजिंग द डिस्टिलेशन प्रोसेस, देयर इज एन नो लूज ऑफ एन वाटर. सो दैट वाटर विच इज यूज, दैट evaporates and condensed into another container. You can see here we are evaporating the water. Here it is an beaker, it is an filled distillation flask, it is an impure water, here burner. So here we kept an lid. So while evaporating, whatever the evaporation is in, that water is collected into another container. So that is called as an distillation. So the water we collected into another beaker, that is called as an distilled water. So after cooling the water vapor, it changes into an water. Okay, next, pure and safe drinking water. The water obtained from the lakes, rivers, ponds and wells have to be made fit for drinking. Therefore, this water is filtered and purified in big purification plants by this method before it is made available to homes. So from where we are using the water, from where we are getting means, the water we are using, it will get from the lakes, rivers and ponds. So it is unsafe for drinking the water. So before sending the water to the homes, firstly the water which is collecting from the lakes, rivers and ponds, that water is firstly purified and then distilled, and then it will be available to the homes. Okay, next is sedimentation. Water collected in large tanks is left undisturbed for a few days. This method makes the heavier insoluble impurities to settle down at the bottom of the tanks, and clear water gets collected on top. Chemicals such as alum are used to purify the water. So sedimentation is nothing but you can see the large tanks will be there, so in that the water isn't stored, it is stored for a few days. After few days, the impurities which is present in the water, it settle down at the bottom of that tank. So after the water will be, the pure water will be obtained at the top of the tank. So after that we are adding that chemicals such as an alum to purify the water, and then it will be sent to an homes. Next, filtration. After sedimentation, the finger impurities are removed by finer impurities are removed by filtration. So after sedimentation, what we are doing? The filtration. So whatever after sedimentation, whatever the finer small impurities that are present, it will be removed by filtration. Next, chlorination. The process of adding chlorine in water to kill the germs is called chlorination. The pure water were obtained through this process is applied to our homes. So after that, we are adding the chlorine to the water to purify the water. That process is called as a chlorination. If we are adding water to that chlorine, so what happened? The germs which are present, that will be totally killed. So the pure water then supplied to our homes. As we completed our lesson and found to learn a bit, it is there. True or false? You can see the major component of the air is an oxygen. Yes, it is true or false? It is an false. Next, the first layer of the atmosphere is troposphere. Yes, the first layer is an troposphere. Sedimentation is used to remove insoluble impurities from the water. Yes. Water must be boiled to make it fit for the drinking. Yes, before drinking the water, we have to boil the water. We get chlorinated water by distillation? No. How we are getting the chlorinated water? By adding the chlorine. So this is in your homework. You can see this a bit from here to here. Thank you.